One day, a blind boy was sitting on the steps of a city building with a turned-up hat at his feet and holding a sign in his hands reading, "I am blind, please help." A man walked by and noticed that there were only a few small coins in the hat. So he threw in some more coins, and then he took the sign out of the boy's hands, turned it around, and on the other side wrote something else and placed it back into the boy's hands so the people could see the new words. More and more people began to throw money into his hat, so that soon it was overflowing. In the afternoon, the man returned to see how things were going. To his delight, he saw that the boy had accumulated a lot of funds. The boy recognized the man's footsteps as the one who had come in the morning and changed the sign. He asked, "Are you the one who changed my sign?" The man said, "Yes, I am." The boy asked, "What was it that you wrote on my sign?" The man replied, "I only wrote the truth. I said the same thing that you said, only I said it in a different way." What the man had written was, "Today is a beautiful day, and I cannot see it." It's one thing to see someone who is blind. It is quite another thing to recognize what it is that we are seeing and realize that this person cannot see it. Then we understand, and our hearts are moved. I want to see. This was the prayer of Bartimaeus, the blind man. What was it that he wanted to see? Did he also wish to see this beautiful day? Did he wish to see the faces of his friends? Did he wish to see once in his lifetime the flowers blooming in the field or the blue of the sky above him? Oh, but there are a lot of other things to be seen in this world, things that are not so beautiful. The world contains much ugliness as well. When a blind person opens his eyes, he will see all the cruelty around him. People being mean and hateful to one another at home, on the streets, in the stores. He will see a world torn apart by war. I often wonder whether, after seeing all of this, the blind person does not perhaps want to go back to blindness. There is so much in this world that one is better off not seeing. The blind person in the gospel actually had the gift of vision because he could see that he could not see. Jesus points to the religious leaders of his day and says that those are the truly blind ones because they think they can see. Some things never change. It takes great humility, great vision to see that we cannot see everything, and to join our prayer to that of the blind Bartimaeus. Master, I want to see. Some years ago there was a meeting of bishops in Rome, during which two surprising prophets sprang up. Both happened to be from the Philippines, and both were gifted with real vision. One was Archbishop Tagle, who was then the Archbishop of Manila. The other was Archbishop Villegas from Pangasinan. Archbishop Tagle had the courage to address his fellow bishops, telling them we are the ones who are the blind because we think we can see. He said that what we need in order to evangelize the world is to conform ourselves to the humility of Jesus, rather than being preoccupied with the power and the prestige and the position of the church in society. He said we must stop pretending that we see the answers and stop pretending to give these simple answers to very complicated questions. But the church, he said, must become a silent church and learn to listen attentively, because it is in silence that we will come to the truth. And it is only in that way that people will believe that God listens to them too. This is a prophet, because he sees that he cannot see, and humbly prays for the gift of vision. Archbishop Villegas continued the speech, saying that if we want new evangelization, we have to start with new humility. The greatest obstacle to the spreading of Christ's good news is the arrogance of the messengers. He courageously called upon his fellow bishops to cease their arrogance, their hypocrisy, their bigotry, and to stop covering up their own mistakes. Our mission, he reminded them, is to propose humbly, not to impose proudly. If we want new evangelization, we need a new sanctity. We must become the new saints, credible role models that people can follow. In the third world, he said, we have learned that it is indeed possible to preach to people with empty stomachs, as long as the stomach of the preacher is as empty as the stomachs of the ones being preached to. To have a new evangelization, he said, we must have a new charity. We must go back to the simple, humble Christ and model ourselves after him. It took tremendous courage for these two remarkable bishops to call out their fellow bishops and call them back to the humility of Christ. They had vision because they could see that they could not see. And humbly they called out to God, I want to see. If you were blind, what is it that you would most like to see? For myself, I would like to see a more humble, a more listening, a more loving church. I would like to see a more humble, a more listening, a more loving world. A more humble, a more listening, a more loving me. Lord, give me the gift of vision, that I may see that I cannot see. May the prayer of the church, the prayer of the people, the humble prayer of my own heart be ever that of blind Bartimaeus. Master, I so want to see.